See a stuntman's attempt to parachute from a mile-high cargo plane on a motorcycle and then land and ride away.
What Jimmy Davis is about to attempt has never been done. This cargo plane will take Jimmy and his bike 7,000 feet above the desert.
Jimmy will then get on the bike, start it, and ride down, with a little help from a parachute and safety man, Tom Hart. A seasoned team of stuntmen has helped to carefully plan this jump, and Jimmy can now only hope that everything will go well.
The plane is now 7,000 feet above ground level. Jimmy gets set for his incredible motorcycle ride, straight down.
The ground camera and crew are ready.
And now the jump. The skydivers go first.
Then Jimmy Davis goes for it. Falling at 120 miles an hour, Jimmy pulls the ripcord.
The chute starts to open, but there's something wrong.
The parachute's lines are snagged on the bike's handlebars, and they're also wrapped around Jimmy's arm, pulling him off to one side.
It's extremely painful, and the snag makes landing this way impossible. Jimmy now has to act fast.
He struggles to reach the cutaway handle that will disconnect the parachute from him and the bike.
He gets to the handle and pulls it. Now Jimmy and the bike are free falling. He tries to fall away from the bike and then pops his emergency chute. It opens. His only hope is safety.
The motorcycle also has a safety chute that's just large enough to bring it down.
Jimmy Davis and his bike now drift to the desert below. It's not the way Jimmy wanted things to go, but his safety precautions and quick action have averted a potential disaster.
Jimmy lands safely.
The bike has also done well. Only the handlebars are broken.
Jimmy's skill and perhaps his special good luck hat have brought him safely through danger.
The motorcycle's handlebars can be easily fixed with only 60 cents worth of new parts. And though the daring challenge has not yet been met, Jimmy is undaunted.
Yeah, everything else, I think we pack it back up and do it again.
Will he make it this time?
Is at 7,000 feet, the height from which Jimmy Davis will begin his unique vertical motorcycle ride to the ground, and then, if all goes well, continue riding on the desert floor.
The skydiving camera crew exits first. And now Jimmy. He pops the parachute, and this time the small white pilot chute starts to wrap around the bike's handlebars. Jimmy quickly untangles it so the main chute can open. And it does.
Needless to say, Jimmy Davis couldn't be happier.
Now he goes for the bike's handlebars and just holds on tight as his specially designed parachute sails him toward Earth at 40 miles an hour.
The trip down will take about 4 minutes, and Jimmy's enjoying every second of the world's first free-fall parachute motorcycle ride.
Jimmy Davis doesn't just want to land safely. His plan is to land, dump the chute, and keep on riding, horizontally this time. The bike's engine stalled during the spinning freefall, but he's managed to start it again while airborne, just in time for touchdown. Let's watch.
He did it! He's still up and riding.
The chute's now free, and Jimmy Davis is still going strong.
Here's the jump again.
He accelerates to 125 miles an hour before the chute opens.
Here's Jimmy untangling the small white pilot chute from the handlebars. His quick thinking kept the second jump from failing.
Now the landing. It's a smooth approach and right on target.
It's a perfect two-point touchdown by a man on a flying motorcycle.
Now that's incredible. And a new world's first for Jimmy Davis, the free-fall parachute biker.
Dive by a woman has grown even higher.
At Magic Mountain in Southern California, the champion diver sets out to break the existing record dive.
From a small perch 112 feet 2 inches in the air, Lisa plans to dive into this pool. That's like diving from atop a 10-story building. If Lisa does it, she will be breaking the woman's world high diving record by 2 feet and 8 inches.
Her long climb to the top begins. It will take several minutes. Her dive, on the other hand, will take barely 3 seconds.
Lisa has been competing for 15 years. This daring diver has had only one serious accident all that time. During one high dive, her leg split apart, throwing her form off. As a result, Lisa dislocated her hip and was out of competition for several months.
Having reached the top, Lisa prepares for her incredible dive. Lisa's downward speed will nearly reach 60 miles per hour.
There she goes. She did it! A world record-breaking dive, 112 feet and 2 inches. Let's see that amazing dive in slow motion.
She takes off backwards, does a flying backward somersault, and makes a well-timed feet-first landing. Here it is from Lisa's perspective. That's incredible.
As you can see, Doug can ride rings around everyone, even us. But if you think this is something, let's see Doug's most recent adventure.
San Francisco, famous for its picturesque landmarks. There's Alcatraz Island, the bay across from Fisherman's Wharf.
And then there's Lombard Street. It's one of the steepest, narrowest, and most winding streets in the world.
It's a quarter-mile long and includes 5 consecutive 180-degree hairpin turns. It draws thousands of tourists every day. But soon, this lovely cobblestone road will be the setting for a daring challenge.
My name is Doug DeMilke, and I'm known as the Wheelie King. And I got started riding motorcycles when I was about 14 and progressed in motocross racing and went into riding wheelies. And I perfected wheelies to a skill to where I can make it up and down Lombard Street. Problems with going up Lombard Street are going to be the way the turns are. They're carved out. They're kind of banked turns. I'm not going to get a full knobby surface on the street because of the cambered angle of the street. Plus, there's a little oil on the bricks up there from the cars coming down the street, and that's going to make it hard, too.
Conquering Lombard Street is going to be an ultimate test of Doug's skills, but Doug is prepared. After all, he's the only person ever to ride a distance of 20 miles while balancing on just one wheel of his bike. There he goes. He's wheeling already. And now up Lombard Street.
Keeps his balance by coordinating the brake and the throttle. He steers by subtly shifting his weight. Now he's nearly at the top.
It looks like he's going to make it. And he does. It's a new wheelie first. And now Doug celebrates with a few spins around the cable car. If you think that was something, stay tuned. Once Doug got to the top of Lombard Street, he decided to wheelie back down. In a moment, you'll see what happened.
And now let's watch Doug's daring drive down the dangerous decline called Lombard Street.
Doug DeMocus is going for it. He's off.
Balance on the descent is much more critical and demanding than it was going uphill.
And to make things even more difficult, Doug suddenly encounters a rather formidable obstacle.
But somehow there doesn't seem to be any obstacle that's too big for the Wheelie King.
Doug just took a 52-step stairway right in stride.
Doug's now within sight of the bottom, and suddenly another obstacle starts to get in the way of his record.
A top wheelie man, however, never lets anything stand in his way.
Here's that wheelie car crossing again.
Ladies and gentlemen, say goodbye to the incredible Wheelie King, Doug DeMocus.
So that's recently a man named Alain Marchand took on the challenge of the arch.
In 1919, an aviator named Godefroy flew his biplane through the arch. For 62 years, no one attempted to fly through it again, and with good reason. The feat is not only illegal, it is extremely dangerous.
Alain Marchand will use this single-engine Beechcraft for his daring aeronautical feat. His reasons for the attempt are purely philosophical.
D'être au-dessus de...
He says, I believe it's the problem of fighting the elements, to be above the limits of our terrestrial base, to dominate the elements and the machine.
Alain has flown every kind of plane built in the world today. Jets, stunt planes, hydroplanes, even warplanes. He is a veteran of the French Naval Air Force and has logged over 10,000 hours in the sky. He is anything but an amateur.
Only Alain and a few cameramen know what he's about to do. If the French authorities knew, he'd be stopped. He has thoroughly tested the plane to which he is now entrusting his life.
Weather conditions are near perfect. And now, the takeoff. Alain is committed to his challenge. Once in the air, he will not turn back.
To reach the Arc de Triomphe, Alain must fly fast and low into the busiest part of Paris.
Here is his target. His plane's wingspan will allow him only 18 inches of clearance on either side of the arch.
Now, there's no turning back.
The inside width of the arch is 48 feet. The wingspan of the plane is 45 feet.
And he made it with only inches to spare and immediately climbs into the sky.
Let's take another look. You can see how tight the fit is. An error of inches would have meant tragedy.
And one more look.
Napoleon didn't have this in mind when he had the Arc de Triomphe built. We can't help but think he would have admired the courage of Alain Marchand.
Australia, where stuntman Ian Jamieson is about to catapult himself over 5 buses.
For Ian to launch himself to safety, he must accelerate to 50 miles an hour, hit the takeoff ramp perfectly, and then smash dead on into the steel wall at the top.
While speeding toward the ramp, he must perch himself on the bike seat and leap forward at the instant of the motorcycle's impact with the wall. If he doesn't do everything perfectly, he'll be landing on the buses he's now walking on, and that landing will be at 50 miles an hour.
The fireworks signal that everything is ready. Ian is about to attempt the most dangerous and demanding feat of his 14-year career. A career that so far is unblemished by a major injury or even a broken bone.
The next time Ian comes up to this wall, it'll be at 50 miles an hour. His motorcycle will be destroyed on impact, and if all goes well, he'll be catapulted over the buses to his landing pad, 100 feet away.
Ian's just about ready to go for it. A final detail is the flare on his foot. And now he's off. Perfect! He made it! Here's the human catapult in slow motion.
Perched in catapult position, he heads for the ramp. The approach up the ramp is right on target. Split second before impact with the wall, he stands up ready to leap. The bike hits, and Ian is launched away.
Ian Jamieson has done it again. A daring world's first, executed to perfection. It's a proud moment for Ian, and here's another look at this extraordinary performance. Hugo's unique 23-foot cannon is almost ready to fire him past the crowd at the Yonkers Raceway in Yonkers, New York. During his 15-year career, Hugo has been blasted into the air thousands of times, earning him a string of colorful nicknames such as the Human Cannonball, the Living Projectile, and the Mortal Missile. You can't be a man of Hugo's caliber without the proper safety equipment. A protective mask, hat, goggles, gloves, as well as a thick leather jumpsuit are all part of the great Zucchini's regular working attire. With all his protective gear in place, he is now nearly ready to enter the cannon's barrel. The barrel is elevated to a 45-degree angle for what will be a 175-foot shot. In just a few moments now, Hugo Zucchini will become a 90-mile-an-hour human cannonball.
Hugo! Are you ready?
There he goes! And it's a perfect landing on the net. Now in slow motion, Hugo accelerates to 90 miles an hour, rises as high as a 6-story building, and then flies into the net 175 feet away. For Hugo Zucchini, one good blast deserves another. The cars are carefully set on end with a large commercial tow truck. Steinbach watches carefully. The positioning is crucial.
Wooden braces will keep the cars from accidentally falling forward. The cars are now in place. If they're not positioned exactly right, it will mean disaster.
When we come back, we'll see the fiery conclusion to this incredibly dangerous experiment.
Hi, my name is L.W. Steinbach, and the stunt that we're going to do is we're going to drive a car down this track and impact, drive into, through, and under each of these 4 cars while they're ablaze. As we strike each car, we will be applying several laws of Newton. The greater mass being at the top will strike the first car at about 60 miles per hour to make sure that we have enough time to get into and through the car before the laws of gravity take over and pull the car down. By the time the first car reaches the level at which I've passed, I should be striking the second car and almost through it.
If, in fact, our calculations are correct, in the time that it takes for the first car to fall, our driver will have struck the second car and will be just about ready to hit the third car.
When we hit the third car, we should be doing about 46 to 48 miles per hour. And again, this is sufficient speed so that the bulk of the mass, being at the top, will move out of the way and allow us to pass through and under the car before we make contact with the fourth and final car. I repeat, all these cars will be ablaze, so we need at least 40 to 42 miles per hour before we make contact with the final car. The final car has the greatest mass and the greatest weight, so we save that for last, save it for the best, I guess. The bulk of the mass is affected in Newton's first law. Body at rest tends to stay at rest unless acted upon by an outside motion. The speed will dissipate from 60 to 54 to 56. On the third car, it will be between 46 and 48, hopefully. 40 to 42 when we strike the fourth and final car. We'll continue on down the track and hopefully have a very nice, exciting stunt.
37.
In case there is a mishap, an ambulance crew stands by. Firemen are ready to quickly pry open a mangled car. Everything's just about ready. The torches have been lit, and now the cars will be set on fire. This will be the most dangerous stunt that L.W. Steinbach has ever attempted. The cars are burning. Once they are fully ablaze, Steinbach will go for it.
The moment of truth is now only seconds away. Steinbach is ready, and he's off. Accelerates the car to speed, and here he goes. At the last second, he ducks. 1, 2, 3, 4. He made it! He's flipped 4 flaming cars. Behind him is a burning mess that looks much better through his rear view mirror.
Now that's what I call a smashing performance. Let's watch that again in slow motion.
When seen from a safe distance, the stunt is no less horrifying. L.W. Steinbach, that was incredible.
Of Texas City will be jumping his boat over a ramp. He's hoping to go a distance of 120 feet right over. Brian, we're on a little stretch of water that runs adjacent with Galveston Bay, where this gentleman, 34-year-old Leonard Steinbach, a native of Texas City, Texas, will attempt to jump this boat off a ramp over a landmass and hopefully exceed a distance of some 120 feet. And one other thing, we're going to be traveling much faster than we are now, some 85 miles an hour. And Leonard, I know you've jumped a boat before, but nothing of this magnitude. To that end, what kind of preparations and precautions have you taken?
Well, we've spent several months, about 5 months, making the calculations, and I feel that along with the help of Dr. Zubis and myself, and the previous experience from racing boats, because we called in experts to tell us about the hull, to tell us about the engine, how to get the maximum speed, the most stability.
The ramp itself is fairly narrow. That's not much of a margin for error. What about that?
There is approximately 6 7/8 inches room for error. That is 6 or 7/8 inches right or left, and at the speed that we're going, you can call that less than nothing, because you're talking about less than 1/2 a degree a second of angle.
What about the crosswind? What's going to prevent you while you're airborne? It's pretty strong today to wind up in Dallas, Texas.
Well, we're not going that far. We're only going to go about 122. Well, the record by Peter Horak is 122, so we'd like to go for a record of, say, 125. We had originally and initially done all of our calculations and everything with our speed, our weight, including myself, the engine, the boat, all of the paraphernalia, for a distance of about 134 feet, but because of this crosswind that you were talking about, we're going to have to cut back a little bit on the speed. As you said, we'll be doing a lot faster than what we're doing right now, but not anything like what we would like to be traveling at. If for any reason the boat noses over, bows over, or blows over backwards, at that point, then we have a problem, but we also have this kill switch here that'll turn the engine off automatically.
Well, as much as I'd like to stay in the boat and lend you some moral support, I think my best vantage point is definitely on shore. And because of the strong crosswind, Leonard will have to cut down his speed a bit, something just a shade over 75 miles an hour. Although Leonard Steinbeck will be jumping his boat all by himself, as you can see, it's more than a one-man operation. Members of his crew busy setting the ramp in place, making sure that it's at the correct angle. He's even enlisted the services of a man who holds a doctorate in physics. His name is Dr. John Hubitz. He's a professor of physics at nearby College of the Mainland in Texas City, Texas. And Doc, it all looks good on paper, but some obvious questions. One, how fast will he have to travel? Two, is that ramp sturdy enough to withstand the impact? And can he withstand the impact once the boat lands?
Okay, question number one. He has to be going at least 60 miles an hour. He will probably leave the top of the ramp at 70 miles an hour. If he can do 75, that's even better. The ramp is well insulated, supported, however you want to think of it. There are polyvinyl pipes filled with styrofoam. It will take the weight of the boat, and it's anchored solidly to the bottom. And as he rises up over it, he will land in the water, perhaps with the rear of the boat first, the solid part of the boat, if you like. It's been reinforced, and yes, he'll be able to take the shock.
Well, to borrow a phrase from Houston's Mission Control, all systems are go. Let's hope science is right. We'll be back with the jump right after this. Texas City, Texas, where quite a few people have turned out for Leonard Steinbeck's boat jump, including a local construction crew. They certainly have an eagle's eye view. Leonard has just completed 3 practice runs, and now he's ready to go. He signals to the crowd. They are anxious. To brief you once again with some of the variables that Steinbeck will have to contend with, first the ramp. The ramp has been constructed from angle iron, and there has been polyvinyl poles filled with styrofoam on top of those to cushion the impact. Steinbeck will have to attain a speed anywhere from 60 to 75 miles per hour, depending upon his final calculation of the crosswind. And there's a look at the ramp. If you ask me, it doesn't look all that secure. It's made from angle iron. It's been welded together. Steinbeck makes the turn on his final approach here. Remember, this stunt has been 5 months in the preparation. Carefully calculated. He's going to jump his boat off a ramp over a landmass. One of the things that he has to worry about, he must hit that ramp perfectly flat. Here he comes. He's about 50 yards away now. Let's hope that ramp can take it. Let's hope Steinbeck can take it. Flies off the ramp and overboard. The boat flips over, and as you saw, Steinbeck was thrown free. Let's hope he is all right. Thumbs up, a sigh of relief. Steinbeck is okay. He is one very lucky gentleman. Team of divers on hand just to ensure his safety. They swim to his side. Watch it again. Notice the boat waffling back and forth. That's the problem. In perpendicular fashion, he goes flying. Fortunately, he was able to throw himself free. And again. See the ramp give way as well. There he goes. Here's where it helps to be a professional stuntman. Steinbeck has done free falls before, and he tucks up and lands in the water, away from the boat. Here, partner. First of all, congratulations. Thank you. I don't think anybody here planned on you landing like that.
I didn't either. But what happened was I hit the ramp. You know, normally human error. I hit the ramp a little bit crooked. The boat performed fine. The engine performed fine. The ramp worked well. Had a good bunch of people, and I really want to thank them.
What's your physical condition like?
Oh, you know, same. I'm a little wetter than what I was a while ago.
Well, here's why. Ramp gives way, and the boat just narrowly clears that area of land. I understand it, you're taking a class from this gentleman.
Right.
You think you passed your course, the lab anyway.
Do you realize that this was a lab experiment? In all reality, I get a full, I believe, 1 credit for this.
We'll give him an A for the class, an E forever. Watch it again. Wow. He can also punch a hole in his luck ticket because he is very fortunate. As the boat flips over, he tucks, throws himself away to safety. Bryant will be back with more of the games people play.
Arizona desert is probably the last place you'd expect to find a row of parked cars. But these 15 vehicles are part of an incredible stunt engineered and designed by Spanky Spangler.
Spanky's plan is to punch through the pyramid and come out the other side. He'll do it in a car traveling 55 miles an hour. One by one, the gas-guzzling giants are moved into place and the pyramid begins to take shape. The base of the pyramid will consist of 5 cars, lined up bumper to bumper, stretching almost 80 feet long.
The placement of the cars is extremely critical. If they're not arranged properly, the entire pyramid, over 30 tons of metal, could come crashing down. Driving a car through this wall of steel requires precision timing, careful planning, and unbelievable skill. Everything from the size of the cars to the design of the launching ramp must be meticulously calculated. Nothing can be left to chance, and there's no room for error.
This 2,000-pound van will be placed in the center of a pyramid and serve as Spanky's target. His car will collide with the van at a bone-crushing speed of 55 miles per hour. A ramp will propel Spanky's car towards its target. And Spanky's car must hit the van with enough speed and force to punch it out of the center. And hopefully Spanky's car will still have enough power to carry him through the pyramid before it collapses on him.
If Spanky's car hits the pyramid too high, the roof will be sliced off and Spanky could be decapitated. If Spanky's car hits the pyramid too low, it'll be stopped cold in its tracks and tons of metal will come crushing down on it.
The final 4-wheel building block is moved into place, and the towering pyramid is almost complete. Spanky runs a final check on the ramp that will launch his car. The car will be like a flying battering ram. It will travel 45 feet through the air on its collision course with the van.
Every precaution is taken to ensure Spanky's safety. Baseball shin guards will shield his legs, and a chest protector will absorb the shock of any punishing blows. Stabilizing straps will protect Spanky's head and neck from any violent whiplash.
A heavy steel reinforced roll cage will shield Spanky inside the car. Everything is in place, and Spanky is ready to attempt his death-defying drive through the pyramid of cars.
All the careful planning and preparation is about to be put to the test in the most dangerous drive that Spanky Spangler has ever taken.
Speed is critical. Spanky must be traveling exactly 55 miles per hour when he hits the ramp and takes off on his collision course with the van. If he's traveling too fast or too slow, this stunt could end tragically. Here he goes. He's out.
We'll see the rest of this daring stunt when that's incredible. Directly through a pyramid of 15 cars.
Smashing through the center of this pile of steel and glass is a formidable challenge, even for a seasoned stuntman like Spanky Spangler.
But Spanky's eager to meet the challenge of this never-before-tried feat. His experience, planning, and driving skill are about to undergo a dangerous test. He's all set. And he's off.
Speed is extremely critical. The magic number is 55 miles per hour. If Spanky hits the ramp traveling too fast or too slow, he will not strike his target square on, and his car could be turned into his coffin.
Here he goes. He's up, and he's done it! But his car traveled a bit too high, and the top of it was sliced off.
The unexpected is never surprising in an untried stunt, but it's shocking and frightening nonetheless.
The tiniest error can be the difference between success and tragedy. Spanky and his crew know that all too well.
Incredibly, Spanky is alive and doesn't appear to be seriously hurt.
Spanky has miraculously survived this near-death collision, and it's time to celebrate his successful plunge through the pyramid of cars. But before he begins his victory celebration, Spanky takes a moment to reflect on the mistake that nearly cost him his life.
The track is so bumpy, and my speedometer kept bouncing around so bad, and I only got one shot of looking at my speedometer. I didn't know exactly where I was. To do a good show, I just punched it.
Here's the leap again. Here's a slow-motion look at Spanky's incredible, death-defying drive through the car pyramid.
Here's that amazing stunt from another angle. As soon as Spanky realized his car was traveling too high, he ducked down. It's a good thing he did. The fierce impact of the crash instantly turned his hard-top car into a convertible.
Nobody should ever attempt this type of dangerous stunt. It was Spanky's years of experience and his quick reflexes that saved his life and turned this near-fatal stunt into a truly smashing success.